All right, give me just a moment to change out of work clothes that I did not realize that I had on until now. And then after that, we shall begin. So, hey Abrix, and hey, Dave. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty good. Today was relatively not stressful. For those of you who don't know, the last day of public school is May 31st in Orange County, I should say, Florida. So, yeah, the days have been basically winding down before summer camp starts. Once summer camp starts, I'll be working 40-hour work weeks, which will be both difficult but good in terms of, well, me making money to support dreams and endeavors that I need. So we will see how that goes. I didn't have much trouble at work today. I had some trouble with literally only one kid, and it sucks that I have trouble at all. But one kid is to be expected usually. There's always the one kid who's doing something bad. Um, so yeah, this kid basically was running around quite a bit and was kind of mimicking the idea that he was going to go like bolting out the door into like the street or something, which is a little stressful on my part because he's technically my responsibility, and having a kid run out into the street is not something that I would like. So that was relatively the only stressful thing of the day. Tomorrow is going to be a little bit more stressful. We have graduation ceremony at the place that I work at for a group of kids who's stepping up into basically the next grade, coming into the aftercare program from a different division. Essentially, is what it comes down to. It's just another excuse for parents to celebrate their kids not really doing anything. They're literally just stepping up from pre-K to kindergarten. Is the transition that they're making here. I both understand and don't understand because I don't think it's necessary to celebrate it on this much of a scale, because people are treating it as if it was like a college graduation. We have people that are literally coming from out of state to come down to this graduation ceremony that's tomorrow, that have nowhere to stay and their relatives have no room for them, but they still want to be down here for the graduation ceremony of whomever is graduating with them. So it's a give or take type of thing. I'm not working the event, but I will be there. Yeah, I work with children. I work at an aftercare facility. Is kind of what it is. It depends. Um, I'm it. I need to relax. I have a lot of verbal fillers coming in with the majority of this. It was a church first, and then the church, to give back to the community, also turned into an aftercare facility, VPK facility, and then pre-K facility. So there's 3 different divisions. So for the most part, we have a lot of kids at the facility that I work at. So tomorrow is VPK's graduation. Us ourselves, we don't have a formal graduation. I work in the aftercare division. I don't work in the VPK division. I prefer older children, and I am DCF certified to work with children that are 5 years old and above, which is the aftercare section. So basically, from kindergarten and above is the grade that I personally can work with, that I am certified to work with. which is one of my favorite age groups, is a good way to put it. If I pick up my phone and I'm looking at things and I'm laughing, it's because I'm playing this game where you can capture other people's commanders essentially. Um, and there's an achievement for it in the game, and I wanted that achievement, so I found someone who was weaker than me, which is what you do. I captured their commander, and I was going to release it back to them, but they got on like 24 hours after I captured that commander, and then they got really, really pissed that I had their commander, came and attacked me, released them themselves, and someone from a different clan who was a friend of our clan that left, uh, basically retaliated on my behalf because they're stronger than me, and now that person's been like begging me to tell the other person to stop and things like that. So I might dip in and out to take a look at that every once in a while. Anyhow, this is what has become of the massive project that I've been going through. This has taken so much time and energy, it's not even funny. It's taken a lot of mental capacity to kind of get it as closed off and good looking as possible without detracting from the look for the most part. So at one point there was wings on this, and I've removed them, and I was just experimenting while watching the 10 o'clock news with wing designs that used Technic, kind of like how the newer what's it called? I don't know what it's called. I have it sitting right over here, and I'm gonna have to go get it now because I want to make this point. So let me go get it. I forgot what this thing is called. Like it's so obvious, but I completely forgot. Um, my grandparents found the set completely unopened at a garage sale for $5, believe it or not. So I got this for $5 unopened. It was a fantastic deal, and it came with everything. It was completely unopened. All the stickers went in. I applied the stickers myself on both sides for the most part. The minifigs were in it, and then obviously it's got the spring-loaded shooters in it as well. This was a really interesting build, and I learned quite a bit because there's some pretty interesting techniques. This area in particular is pretty unique. I like how they used the newer pieces here. You guys can't really see that. I also learned how they did these fins without making them entirely brick built, that actually made them pretty strong. You can definitely hold this and jiggle it up and down and definitely play with it, fly it around. As a kid, obviously, you're going to fly it around. And it won't break. And this fin technique that they're using with the Technic integrated in is something that I was actually looking at using. You hear Luke is flying one around in episode 4 in his Tatooine home before like the beginning of the film actually starts and things. I've never seen this name in chat before, so I'm going to assume that you are new, but it could be someone else. But I love lollies and echoes. Yeah. Hi. I think it's called a skyhopper. I'm not particularly sure, and I don't feel like looking it up as of right now, so we're just gonna continue on with what we're talking about. I tried that different wing design, and that wing design really didn't do anything for me. It didn't look right, like at all, with the rest of the design. So I basically scrapped it. I went back to a previous design that I had saved because thank goodness I had saved. I figured it wasn't going to work the way that I wanted it to. Ah, Fat Llama's poop. Okay. Hey, mate. Um, it wasn't working out the way that I wanted it to, so I deleted it out and I replaced everything back. And it actually, this is working out. I'd go to say that just this alone is perfectly fine in terms of overall design, I guess. Since the last time I've live streamed, quite a few different things have changed. I've basically added in this entire top section back here with a couple of hidden features within it. I came off and I cleaned up right here and right here using the walker pieces. I came in and just added a little bit of detailing and stuff up underneath here with some more of the walker pieces. Obviously, the biggest change is the doors are now on, or well, doors. This is an area that I wanted to do some cool things with, so we will discuss this once we get there. I've obviously added this. I've extended this out just a bit using another walker piece. As you can see, it's kind of buried right in here, and then the back here is covered up. You can see the wings on the back here were from the drop ship. This piece is from the robot. This car is from the drop ship. I believe that this one was already a part of this set, but I'm not entirely sure. This is the tank thing. Where did this one come from? I don't remember where this one came from, but it came from somewhere in the Mars line. And yeah, so now we've got quite a large thing going on. Oh, and I've deleted out every single astronaut because I have a new astronaut design using some newer bodies. They look better, and then I have just a generic face underneath it. So basically the story is that they have a black undersuit on, you can see, and then they have their normal suit on top of it, or their outer space suit, and then they have their helmet, obviously. This uses some space printing, which I actually like. And yeah, he's new, so I had to delete out pretty much everyone. So now we've got to go through and try to reposition every single astronaut that we can and put them in places that did not have them before. 1 second. I don't think we're going to do that now because I think that's a menial task that is unworthy of streaming. I can do that off stream. But there is a pretty important thing that I need to do on stream, like right now. This entire build relies heavily on groups. So groups are pretty cool because you can do all sorts of different things with groups. So the Mars theme in general had this pretty interesting thing where you can take things apart and put them back together, and they're pretty modular in that way, like most space line sets that LEGO releases. So if you're using groups, you can easily do that. So all of this is grouped together. You can remove this little pod here, and then you can stick it back on. Obviously, there would be Technic pins there. So we have both of these set up as a group, which is appropriate. That's was needed, but now there are other groups that needed to be added on to the overall ship itself, basically. So these need to be added to this group here, and then removed. That is its own group. This should be its own group. So I want these doors to be their own group, and then this should. Okay, yeah, I know where that is. That is a hidden thing. Okay, so that is fine, but this and this need to be added to it, and then that can be. Did I not add this? I meant to add this. There we go. And then I included a slightly modified version of the little robot thing that they had. We'll create it as a new group. Just here in the back with all of that. These down here need a little bit of help. This is the top one because I added in, obviously I added in these blasters on the side from the tank, I think. I don't know. I added these in. They need to be added to the group so that they look correct. So then I can individually go through and hide each of these groups or remove them as needed. Because, of course, those pods right there are meant to detach. They're just held on by 3 Technic pins. And if they can detach, then it works well. What's the picture behind? This is Sledge's loadout from Rainbow Six Siege. So this is his SMG-11, SIG Pt.3, L85A2, Sledgehammer, 2 frag grenades, 3 flashbangs, and then his Mossberg 590A1. That is what the picture behind is of. Alright, so everything that is in a group can be hidden. Other than, and then this piece can also be hidden. And you can see that that entire section that I just hid is removable, and inside of that is this right here, which is a ship, and then this is hollow through here. Oh, behind me. I will show that here in a moment. Inside here, I had some extra space, so I wanted to do something just a little bit more interesting. So there's just beds. It's a bunk bed here, and then just some drawers over here. And the astronauts crawl through this little opening here, which comes down. You can see the opening here. This is the area that they crawl through, and it comes down into the main bay right through here. You can see it right there. Just some windows on the back here. Pretty interesting. Just want to show that. Now I gotta go through and hide everything again. We'll talk about the picture behind me here first before we discuss anything else. All right. So this picture behind me is Monokuma from Dangan Ronpa. It's kind of hard to say because I was actually corrected on how to say it. I usually say it with a ka instead of a ga. So I go Dangan Ronpa, which does not sound correctly because it's spelled with a G. So Dangan Ronpa is what Monokuma is from. He is an evil, twisted little bear, and that is a Japanese project to label body parts with the proper Japanese names of those body parts. So I hung that up because that's actually a really good image that I have. I just rewatched the first season with my girlfriend over the weekend, actually, because my girlfriend hadn't seen it, and I personally loved the series. I thought it was just an absolutely fantastic series, and she needed to know the same despair that everyone else knew. So I went ahead and introduced her to the series. She watched it pretty much all the way through the first try. So she loved it, I hope, anyhow, unless she lied to me, which I don't think she did, but she could have. So I want to slowly come through and actually include these doors into different groups, because the point is that you can remove these doors easily to have access to the insides of them, but they also have these opening side panels on them as well for minifig access if you want to go down that route. Oops. This needs to be added to the group and then can be hidden. Okay. The other thing is that all of these doors are individually designed so that you can remove this back door here and the whole area up here is not affected by it. Before we get to Ask Class, we're going to talk about the Fallout series. I personally have only played Fallout for about 10 to 15 minutes. So keep that in mind because we're about to talk about something that I have barely played, basically. Fallout 3 was free for Xbox One Gold members a while ago. I think it was about the time that Fallout 4 was coming out. I think they became free so that you could play the old game before the new one came out. So I downloaded it, and obviously it's supposed to be a really good game because anyone in the gaming community knows that Fallout is supposed to be a fantastic game. So I was going to play it, and I sat down and I started playing. I got through basically just about 15 minutes worth of the game, and then I ended up not playing any more of it. I haven't gone back to play it anymore as well. As much as I would like to play Fallout, it's not my cup of tea, I guess is the best way to put it. There's nothing wrong with the game itself, and I personally think that I would enjoy it if I didn't have other things that I was enjoying more. So I play Smite more than I do anything else, and I think because of that, I'm a little bit I don't want to say jaded. I'm a little biased towards Smite more than anything because I feel like things matter in Smite more than they do any other game. Um, it's kind of hard to explain. I personally don't like Fallout, but I think that's because I just haven't sat down and dedicated the time to playing the game to the fullest extent of which it's supposed to be played. I think that's the reason why I don't like it. I don't think it's because it's a flawed game. I think it's just because I personally have not dedicated the time to playing it. I've dedicated my time to much more things than just Fallout, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. So, as you can see, all those doors were incorporated into their own groups. You can see that this one's this side, and that one is this side. This is over here, and this one is over here, which is kind of cool. And then the idea of actually having these doorways in here is basically that in the event that one of the doors gets opened or something, like a ray shield almost will show up in these doorways and prevent any air from escaping out of the rest of the ship. That's the basic theory behind why I have these doors set up, but it's a little hard to demonstrate in this perspective. Now then, this is a little bit more difficult because this right here is actually designed to split apart. This is from the tank walker drilly thingy. I don't know the name of it. I need to know the name of it when I do the review video, but it's designed so that there's like a shuttle that acts as kind of like a control station to get the walker to where it's supposed to be, and then the shuttle will pull out, and then the drill actually goes between here and here to start drilling downwards. And I actually didn't know that until I watched Jane Brick's review of it. I love Jane Bricks as a YouTuber. He's a fantastic YouTuber, and I really appreciate all the knowledge that he shared with the community in a very healthy environment. And I don't say that sarcastically. I really do mean what he does is fantastic and healthy. So this is held on using these slider pieces. So basically all I'm going to do is now everything that this is connected to, I'm going to turn into a new group. All of this is going to be included in that group, and then the cool thing is you can actually move these and them still be counted as a part of the group, which I find to be fantastic. So we can now remove this out, and you can see what's left behind. I don't know what you're talking about, mate. So we can hide that now. You can see, which is good. And now we basically just do the same thing to this side over here. Ask class, we'll get to that. Add these to the group as well. Move them back to where they were. Hide that. Unhide everything. Boop, boop. Boop. Oop. Did not mean to do that one. Right. So now everything left is a part of its own. That's basically everything that's designed to split apart. There's a couple things here and there that could split apart. This entire undersection here is a prime example of something that could split apart, but I don't think should split apart. This is all just upside down, held in using some Technic. I don't think it should split apart, so we're going to leave that. S-Class. I call it S-Class because it's shorter than saying Assassination Classroom. Because Assassination Classroom is a fairly long title. I personally love S-Class. I love S-Class because it's based on a ridiculous premise but well executed, right? And that's something that I feel anime does more than most shows of Western civilization. So let me get a drink before I go into this because throat kind of hurts. Most Western shows are built upon the same principle that's just redone in a different setting with slightly adjusted stories. The prime examples of this come down to pretty much every popular show that's on TV right now, except for a distinct number, a few that are coming out. The new one that I can think of that kind of breaks this mold is still Star-Crossed, which is kind of like a sequel to Romeo and Juliet, which I think breaks the mold just a little bit because, well, I don't think, we'll see about that. Ignore everything I just said there. Basically, if you think about the most popular shows on TV now, so the ones that I watch in particular, NCIS, the original, and basically my point here comes with me saying the original. I shouldn't have to say the original, but I do because there's two other spin-off series. Two? Yes, two other spin-off series that force me to say the original. So we have, no, there's only one. There is another spin-off series that is forcing me to say NCIS the original. Then you have NCIS New Orleans, and those are like a story, just like CSI Miami, the original CSI, so on and so forth. There's a lot going on with that. And then we also have, of course, Law and Order with all its spin-off series. There's so many of the same ideas just executed with different characters in different places that, to me, Eastern civilization has kind of reached this plateau where nothing's really new and innovative. The reason I like Bull so much is that it's not just a show about another lawyer, it's a show about a trial consultant, and trial consultant is a little bit new and different than just a show about lawyers, and I like that, and I like that quite a bit. Eastern civilization is not afraid to change and go to just a completely different and random topic and explore the what ifs of that topic. So Assassination Classroom is a prime example of this because I can't think of anything that mimics the same plot line as Assassination Classroom as I really can't. So there's no other show out there that I can think of that has a teacher as a weird alien thing that's blown up half the moon, supposedly. A friend of mine says that there's a truth behind that comes out later. That can travel at Mach 20 and is basically unkillable, is super smart, can teach all his kids very well. The kids themselves are basically considered the degenerates of society and are being trained as assassins to murder this person. It's a very different and innovative. It's not the same as what everyone else makes, and because of that, I like it a lot more than what I like about most other things, because most problems that I have with most things come down to originality. Being original to me is far more important than whether or not you did it right. I can live through a very bad show as long as it's original. And a prime example of this is Akikon, uh, which is a show about soda cans who are fighting life and death so that the Japanese government can determine which can style is the best for the country and which one they should use. Um, yeah. Oh, and then I mentioned that the soda cans can turn into girls. Horrible anime because it's just so weird and redonkulous. Horribly executed with an okay plot and things like that. But it was so original that I watched it all because it was original. It had just a story that no one had ever talked about before. So Monster Musume is kind of the same thing to that extent. I liked Monster Musume because it kind of explores themes of racism is kind of the best way I can put it. It's not particularly racism, but it's like racism, where basically you have beings that are different than humans that challenge our overall ideas of what people are, that have the same rights as humans but are obviously so mistreated that it's an easy politically correct way of exploring racism, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And what I just said probably makes no sense to a majority of my viewers because I don't think I said it in the way that I wanted to say it. I have not yet watched another, but I have heard of another that is something to be watched soon, hopefully. I'm currently trying to catch up my girlfriend on the majority of series that I found to be exceptionally good. Um, but aren't like overly long. So I wanted to watch Fairy Tail with her because I haven't watched Fairy Tail and she absolutely adores Fairy Tail. But what we watched over the weekend, did we watch two things over the weekend? What did we watch over the weekend? I know we watched Danganronpa, and then we watched something else, didn't we? I feel like we got through two things. Also, I think we watched Psycho-Pass. I think we finished Psycho-Pass. I think. Psycho-Pass Season 1. I haven't started her on Season 2. I think Season 2 will be one of the next things that we watch. Since it's on Netflix and it's a little bit easier to get a hold of rather than just going to Kiss Anime and having to do that. Because I use my Xbox for it, and it's a little bit more difficult to use Microsoft Edge on the Xbox. Oh, that's what we watched. We watched The Irregular at Magic High School. I completely forgot. We haven't finished it, but we'll get there. I love The Irregular from Magic High School because um, it kind of trolls itself in its own weird way. So, harem, by definition, is basically an anime where there is one main male protagonist that is surrounded by a bunch of females. That's the definition of a harem. The funny thing with The Regular at Magic High School is that it is a harem, but the main character himself has this weird incestual relationship with his own sister, but it's not really incest because they never really act on it. They just so much have like they have so much love for one another that it almost seems incestual, but it's really not. It's just brother sisterly love that is taken to a far extreme that is borderline incestual. And it kind of trolls itself on that subject because it's trying to act like a harem, but the main protagonist ruins his own harem with his sister. And I think that's funny. That's just me, though. Other people probably think something completely different, and that is fine because we all have opinions. I also feel like it's a good series because it does very well to build on the world that it has without trying to overbear on people. It's like Psycho-Pass. Psycho-Pass is a fantastically built world in terms of sci-fi, right? We see a lot about how people live their daily, day-to-day lives. That's like what are those things called? Double negative. Daily lives, daily, day-to-day lives. That's weird. Basically, Psycho-Pass shows us a lot of people's lives without doing it in an expositional way. There is some expositional included in here, so if you have a question about how the art works in Psycho-Pass society, so a lot of artists nowadays will display art that may be borderline pornographic, violent, things like that. And then Psycho-Pass actually addresses this, but it does it in a subtle way by referencing them when you get to the arc about the artist and how the music artist, I should say, because there's two different artists, where you have to be, um, what's the word? You basically have to be registered as a musician, and then you have to send the music to the government, and the government says yes or no as to whether or not you can play that music, because some music can be very provocative in a way that the government doesn't want you to be. So a prime example is this from my experience with music is Riot by Three Doors Down. It's literally a song about starting a riot, and there is no arguing against this. It is a song about starting a riot. Do not even try to argue against it, because that is exactly what this is about. Something like that song in Psycho-Pass would probably be not allowed, I don't think at all. And because of that, it's a little interesting to explore why not it hasn't been included. To me, that's just really cool world building on Psycho-Pass's part. So the author did very well there. In terms of upcoming things that I want to watch with my girlfriend, I want to watch Konosuba Season 2, Psycho Pass Season 2. Usually Season 2s are going to be on this. Um, Not an anime, but a cartoon sitcom. I want to watch BoJack Horseman Season 3, 4. It might be 3. Or it could be 4. I don't know. The next season of BoJack, whenever it comes out, is going to be fantastic to watch. That show started out without... It didn't really grab what it really wanted until you got to about Season 2. Once you got into Season 2, you started hitting a lot darker themes, and it starts exploring the life of a celebrity after they become famous, and the struggles that that celebrity faces with regrets in life, future positions in life. That's a good show for exploring just a little bit deeper things behind celebrities that I don't think any of us have seen most of our lives. So, drug addiction, parent problems, past relationship problems. There's a lot of things with that. I'm pretty sure they've renewed BoJack Horseman for a new season, so hopefully a new one comes out. Konosuba was so good that me and my girlfriend finished it in one day, but I also say that because it was a anime, short season, because we've also finished quite a few different animes in one day because of how short they are. Oh, Durarara, because Moogle's watching, apparently. She hasn't really made her presence known, so it's weird. But hi, Moogle. I'll be on in like 12 is when I'll be on, and we'll play some Smite. Durarara, we have watched together, but we watched bits and parts of it. I started Durarara a while ago before I was even dating her, I think. And then she kind of like came around as I was watching Durarara, so she hasn't seen all of Durarara, but at the same time, she's seen bits and parts of it on her own time too in the past, and it just in the end it worked out. We've all seen Durarara, and we watched Durarara together. We finished Durarara together because we finished season 3, which is awkward how that works in some way because I don't know. Season 2 is denoted by the X2, and then there's like a season 2 within season 2, which I consider season 3. It's weird. So we finished Durarara, and we've seen Durarara, and it it works. Durarara is the one about the girl with no head. She is a Dullahan living in a modern day society where a lot of strange shit happens. And I think what makes Durarara so good is that it isn't quick to jump the shark with plot holes and lines that we have seen before. If that makes any sense. I feel as if why Durarara works so well is because you're always trying to figure out what the hell is going on because it doesn't follow traditional storytelling in a sense. Some scenes take place in the past, some scenes take place in the future. There is a wide and vast, very vast cast of people from all walks of life and nationalities that somehow work with one another extremely well and then don't work with one another extremely well, and because of that, their relationships play off nicely. That's why Durarara works so well. Durarara works a lot. By a lot, I mean a lot. Durarara is a fantastic anime. Durarara had a very slow start, yes. But like I said, I feel as if that's because they did not want to jump the shark with the plot line and kind of take it in a direction that other animes had taken it before. We'll go back to the originality conversation that I was having a little while ago. Durarara works so well because it is original in its own sense, but it has other elements of different animes that have worked in before. So, Gang Wars, for example, Gang Wars and that anime did not start for the most part until far later in the series once the yellow scarves get back together and the blue squares get back together within the dollars. That's when you start seeing what the characters had been talking about at the beginning of the series. And then you start getting the enjoyment of watching the gang wars instead of just hearing about the gang wars, because that is something that I personally had an issue with the series, because the main characters spent a lot of time talking about the gang wars that had happened, and you don't really get to see those gang wars until flashbacks later on in the thing. So, yes, Durarara was very slow, but once you got to the end of Durarara, it felt very fast paced. The later seasons of Durarara are the type of show where you turn it on, you see the opening ending, you think it's been about, or you see the opening, it's been about 5 minutes, and then the ending plays, and it's in all actuality, you just watch the whole episode. That's how good Durarara gets at the end of the series instead of at the beginning. Once you start seeing how pieces and things are falling together on the puzzle, things work out very well. I'm not going to subject her to the pain of watching No Game No Life just yet. The main problem that she would have with me if we watched No Game No Life is that there is no second season and it drops on a huge. Oh, well, I guess she's already seen it. So I guess it doesn't matter at this point. But the problem that I personally have with No Game No Life is that the first season ends smack dab in the middle of the series, and that was really annoying to me. But Ronnie's pretty trustful when it comes to anime information, so if he is saying it's getting another season, we're good. We just have to wait for the second season to come out, and then I will probably binge watch through the first season to get back into it before starting the second season. If I had the time, I would read through the first season, but I don't necessarily have the time because I am currently reading something far more important. So I am currently on part 5 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure when we go into Italy, which is a new setting for the series. We have not yet been to Italy, and I'm glad to be there because it brings all new fashion sense into the series itself and a My entire thing has been derailed because Ronnie has just informed me that instead of it being a sequel to the original series of No Game No Life, it is a prequel, which I don't want. I would like for them to pick up where they left off on series 1, so I don't have to go watch or read the manga. Oh, I also need to read the new chapter of Tokyo Ghoul. So we shall do that now. I'm going to go ahead and just read it on stream because it's not going to take me that long to read. It's only a chapter, and I've kept up with it fairly well. Attack on Titan season 2, me and my girlfriend watched I think the first like 2 or 3 episodes and then stopped because it's an ongoing series and me and her both share the same animosity about watching an ongoing series. Uh, Alright, here we go. We're reading. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop. I don't use Crunchyroll when I could just use like Kiss Anime. I may get ads and things like that, but at the same time, I don't particularly want to pay for anime at the same time. So I'm sure once me and Yana move in together, we might actually have a Crunchyroll account that's paid, and we might actually be supporting the people like we need to. Oh man! But for now, I'm just gonna use Kiss Anime. Oh, oh my! I told you I was gonna actually read it. See you later. Thanks for coming out and watching. It truly feels good to have people like that. Man, the series was kind of anticlimactic, or well, that chapter was anticlimactic. But I do see the death flag that you talking about, and I know that Mooski is about to do something fucking crazy, as she's generally done before, because love is a powerful force, is it not? Just like friendship in most series, such as Naruto, One Piece, Fairy Tail, friendship can get you through fucking anything. Why friendship is always needed in the world. Supposedly, anyhow. Because I have yet to ever see friendship unlock the powers to immortality or such. Yet. Anyhow, we never know. It could happen. And so Attack on Titan Season 2, we're going to wait until that season finishes. The other thing as to why we're not watching Attack on Season 2 is because I have found out what is in the basement, and I've ruined it for other people, and I'm not going to make the mistake on stream again because I feel bad about it. Once you find out what is in the basement, you do not feel like watching Attack on Titan anymore. Attack on Titan was, in fact, overhyped. It is, by and large, an original work for the most part. I can't think of really any other series where, well, Attack on Titan is, at its core, an anime that is about humans fighting back against a force that is more powerful than themselves. But I don't think that the secrets Attack on Titan later reveals are necessarily a part of anything else. But the formula has been copied by other anime before. So the one that I think of, the most recent one that I actually liked a little bit more than Attack on Titan is Black Bullet. Black Bullet is essentially the same thing, humans fighting against something more powerful themselves and beasts that are really, really big. Yeah, that's what I've gotten out of it. Attack on Titan is very anticlimactic, and I think that's the problem. I think they spent a huge amount of time in that series hyping up what's in the basement as some deep and dark secret that no one has ever heard about before, and once you figure out what it is, it's not exactly as anticipated as the series made it seem. And I think that's the problem with Attack on Titan. Um, yeah. What else? I think Black Bullet came out after Attack on Titan. If Black Bullet came out first, then Attack on Titan is very clearly, I'm not going to say ripping off, but taking the equation and changing it to a different scenario and changing the characters, which is an originality problem all in itself. I prefer Black Bullet because Black Bullet takes place in a future time and you can do just a little bit more different stuff with a future timeline than you can a previous timeline. You can still bring in, of course, information from previous timelines. So Gundam 00 comes to mind. So Gundam 00 is heavily based on the principle that the Earth is going to run out of natural resources in our lifetime, which is true. We probably will at the rate that we are going. And because of that fact, Gundam 00 is based essentially all around the war of electricity, because you need electricity to live in a first world country. And because we are all natural, selfish human beings, we will do anything that we need to do to get it. Humans versus monsters is nothing new, but I feel as if the principles behind Attack on Titan that makes it unique is what is new. So we have a trifecta. The best way I can put this is that Attack on Titan is based off of Plato's. I think it's Plato's. If it's not Plato, it's Aristotle's Perfect Republic. I think it's Plato's Perfect Republic. If it's not, it's Aristotle's Perfect Republic. Where essentially there was a triangle of people. So there is the governing branch, which is represented by the intellect. There is the spiritive branch, which is represented by the army, and then there's the appetitive branch, which is represented by literally everyone else. So Attack on Titan is kind of based on this. So the intellect is obviously the people who are in charge, and the military police because they work directly underneath the people in charge, and they are just as much guilty for the crimes that the people in charge have made as themselves. The spiritive type, the warriors, I feel as if are more leaning towards the survey corps as opposed to the garrison. I feel as if the garrison is the appetitive because you spend most of your days repairing the wall and sitting on the wall instead of trying to fight, but you do end up fighting in the walls. That's what I feel is new. that type of triangle relationship between three different units, I don't think is well versed in any other anime that I've watched. Anyhow, I can think of a few different ones, but most of those come down to MMORPG style animes where they're balancing things between three different classes, and even then, it's a stretch to put it to the intellect, appellative, and spiritive forms of that perfect republic. So you could think of it as like a warrior, mage, and then archer, and how all three. So the archer is strong against the mage is strong against the warrior is strong against the archer. How that triangle works, I think I said it wrong, but you get the point. Standard MMORPG type things. That's what I feel is good about Attack on Titan, but there are other plot elements that are dragging Attack on Titan down. That is an issue that Attack on Titan has as well. Particularly spending a huge amount of time revealing what is in the basement after hyping it up a lot, right? So the best equivalence that I can make here is that you have just gone to a rap concert where the opening act is the best rapper that you can think of in history, the best rapper. And then the new act after him is a completely unheard person that you've never heard of before, right? So the opening act, just for sake of argument, and he is not by far the best rapper ever, but I know his name. Your opening act is Eminem, and say that he is the rap god that he says he is, right? He opens, and then the person that comes out after him, his name is. I'm trying to think of the widest name that I can ever think of. Jeff. His name is Jeff. Yes, I got that from the meme, but it works. Jeff comes out, and his opening rap is literally a Dr. Seuss book. You had a hype man who hyped up Jeff to an extent that Jeff did not live up to. And because of that, I would guarantee, as a crowd member in that crowd, you would be pissed. And you would want your refund immediately. That's what I feel Attack on Titan is suffering from by and large. Because that letdown is so strong in the end that you have no feeling whatsoever of loyalty to the series, and you don't give a shit about whether or not you should stay to finish the series. Also, while I'm thinking about it, we should start rendering this image because it's going to take forever to render. My last one took like I think about 20 hours. I think is how much the last one took in order. Oop, I did not mean to do that. Dr. Seuss is fire, but you got to spit it right. So if Jeff comes out and he's like, "The Cat in the Hat," lets a few beats drop, and then does the next verse after that, that shit don't work. He's got to come out and he's got to drop it and spit it hot, and then he has to transition smoothly. He can't just like the music can't just stop and then him continue on. He's got to be able to have like a musical transition to a completely different beat, into a completely different book, and he's got to have that shit memorized. He can't just be sitting there with a book open, like flipping the pages, reading it. Nah, I'm not impressed with none of that. He's got to be impressive. Those rap battles from Critical is what I feel essentially Attack on Titan did, right? So for those of you who don't know Critical is, his YouTube handle is Penguin Z and then a 0. So Penguin 0 is what I always call them. Um, essentially, he finds these like bad rap battles that are just absolutely atrocious, and then makes fun of the rap battles. So that's what I feel has happened here. And I was going to make that reference, but I don't think everyone here watches Critical, so I also don't think I can make that reference. But basically, Eminem was your hype man, and then you came out and you were like one of the people from Critical's rap battle videos. And woo, boy, would that suck. And I feel like that's what's dragging a portion of Attack on Titan down. There's a couple different things as well. Let's get I'll finish setting up the rendering here because I actually started experimenting with doing some of the camera, seeing the background color is like a light gray. It's no longer just a white. The lights, I actually jacked up the shadows just a bit. I think I jacked them up to 20% last time. And I actually like it better with just a little bit more shadow to it. You can see kind of the depth between everything. Colors, modify LD, black color, deals, decorations, outlines, all that's good. Ooh, where's the custom colors? No. Custom variants, no. And then we hit convert. And we hit OK, and we hit yes, and now it's going to start the code that it needs to finish. A couple of the other things that are dragging Attack on Titan down are the characters that are blatantly blind. So much so that the only reason they are blind is because the plot demands they be blind. Is the best way I can put it, right? You can tell that certain Titans are certain people in the cast way early on. You did not need like any hints or anything to know that as a fact. But no one in the cast sees it happen until they defeat the Titan, and then it reverts back to human form, and then they lose their minds that such a thing could happen. That's something that bothers me about Attack on Titan, because I feel as if you could do better than just that. Your main characters are so oblivious it's bad. And that's bothersome in its own way. No, if I rendered it on the laptop that I'm using for streaming, it would destroy itself. The rendering software on my laptop also no longer works. I don't know. There's something weird about Pt.3 is running it at either 32 or 64-bit, and LDD to Pt.3 doesn't convert in the same way, so the bits don't match up apparently between the two, and because of that it doesn't work right. So I have to use my laptop or my desktop, which is what I'm doing now. So that's what's happening. We'll go ahead and set you guys up so that you guys can see what's going on. Oh, yeah, no, you're not going to be able to see. It's kind of bright. You guys aren't going to be able to see. Oh, well, you just come back down here and sit with me instead, because you're not going to be able to see because of how bright it is. It's kind of blowing out the camera. I also feel as if Attack on Titan, we've talked about this only slightly with the basement problem, but I feel as if it spends too much time hiding things. You know how some series, they have this plot twist, but it's at just the right time that makes things work out very well. I feel like Attack on Titan has all these fantastic plot twists that were really, really good, but come out far past where they should have come back out on. That they should have been revealed maybe half of what they were actually revealed, and then things would be
way better for the entire series. So, if they spent less time hyping up what was in the basement and instead just had Aaron go back to the basement and get what was out of the basement in Titan form, the series would have been far, far better because then you could spend more time understanding the significance of what was in the basement instead of trying to drag the series out as much as possible. Because I feel like that's what's happening more. It suffers from the reverse thing that SAO suffers for. SAO was by and large way too short of a story. They had 100 floors that they could have gone through and only went through 25 at most, is what I think we saw for the majority of things. And even then, the boss fights, we didn't even get to see all 100 bosses. We only saw, I think, 5 or 6 in the entire series. That SAO was too short. Attack on Titan manga form is too long. That's what we're getting at. Which is why it's hard to find just the right balance between too long and too short. That's a good way to put it. What else should we watch? I know I've said a couple of things. Kenyana wants to watch Madoka Magica. I've watched Madoka Magica, and I know what awaits us from watching Madoka Magica. And she understands that it is supposedly a very depressing series. She doesn't understand the reason why it's a very depressing series. And I don't think she is necessarily ready for Madoka Magica. If Moogle's still here, Moogle can testify that Madoka Magica was just one of the series where you don't come into the series lightly. Madoka Magica is a very prime example, now that I think of it, as a series that did something original without breaking the mold of the genre, right? Madoka Magical is a magical girl anime, which have been things forever. So the prime example of a magical anime, magic girl. Ooh, put my laptop in. Prime example of a magic girl anime that most people have probably heard of, even in this chat, is Sailor Moon. I know Sailor Moon, they're obviously a little bit older than just girls, but tomato, tomato. That's probably offensive. I apologize if that was offensive. So, Madoka Magica has the fantasy elements of a magic girl anime, but at just the right time, there's this plot twist reveal that comes out, and you start to understand that the series is not exactly what it seems. And it's the type of plot twist reveal in a genre that is both good and enlightening that makes you feel the right way about the series, right? Because this has been done before in a completely different genre and anime, but it was done so poorly that it made the anime one of the worst anime that you could ever watch in your life. And that anime is School Days. And if anyone has seen School Days, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because there is, by and large, a slice of life anime that is just about a man who likes to fuck a lot of women because he can never make up his mind about which pussy is the best pussy. Men, make up your fucking mind and never stick your dick crazy. That is the moral of that anime. But because he can never make up his mind, the one true love that loves him oh so dear decides that it would be a fantastic idea of doing something towards the end of the series, and that plot twist was done wrong in a genre not so well thought out, I guess is the best way to put it. Basically, the plot twist is there, and the plot twist takes things from 0 to 100 far too quickly, and it does it in a way that is unsettling to the viewer. Got him. That's the best way that I can put it. School Days is by and large an okay anime to watch. It is neither good, it is neither bad. But it is strange, and it does have some emotional baggage after you finish the series itself. So be warned if you feel inclined to watch School Days. I don't particularly recommend School Days, but if you would like to watch it, you are free to do so. If you are looking for something just a little bit lighter, might I recommend to you Ghost Stories, but not the Japanese sub. You need to watch the Ghost Stories English dub, which is an official dub, might I add, because some people might ask me that, done by an official cast in an actual studio by an official dubbing company. I think it's Funimation. If I am wrong, correct me. But the lines are so not the same as the original that it can be considered in an abridged series. And I'm not kidding when I say that. It is literally an official abridged series before abridged series became a thing, might I add. Of course, abridged series have been happening for a while now. Team 4 Star has made them popular. There have been abridged series on YouTube for ages. But Ghost Stories is the official abridged series. Someone was actually licensed to dub Ghost Stories, and when they did, they made fun of it heavily. And that's what made that series quite enjoyable. The plot, by and large, is mediocre at best. It is simply about a high school club that likes to investigate ghosts, going out and investigating ghosts and ending their lives is the best way to put it. I guess they're ghosts, they really don't have lives. It is kind of like a villain of the week type thing where every single episode a new ghost appears and the group has to find out some magical way of dealing with that said ghost. It is not a heavy, intense anime when it comes to depression, deep morals, or things like that. But if you would like to learn just a little bit more about the yokai of Japan, that is a good place to start with names and particular actions of Japanese spirits and evil things, because there are quite a few in that series, and they both come from Japan and China. I know that they kind of cross just a little bit. And that's something cool to start your way upon knowing just more stuff about Japan. In particular, I did not know that there was a ghost who attacks you when you are on the bathroom and then asks you about blue and yellow, I believe, and depending on your answer, will drag you into the toilet. I did not know that. That was a strange folk story that I hadn't heard about from Japan before about a specific yokai, and I thought that was just an interesting part of the series. What else have I planned on watching with Yana? Fairy Tail, obviously, because I haven't watched Fairy Tail and she loves the series, and if I'm going to hate on something, I might as well watch it myself. What else? What's on Netflix that I've seen? I'm waiting for Seven Deadly Sins Season 2 to finish, I guess is the way to put it. Seven Deadly Sins has its own Season 2 on Netflix, but it is literally 4 episodes, and it ends on a giant cliffhanger, and it's not ongoing because it doesn't get updated every week. So it's just, I don't know what's going on with that, but we'll see how it gets there. I would like to watch Knights of Sidonia with her, but Knights of Sidonia is not as good as other anime that we are watching in its place. Knights of Sidonia is kind of like a B-rated Gundam in a sense, except it deals more with aliens than it does racism, because most Gundam series revolves around racism more than anything. The 3 series that I can think of off the top of the 3 different timelines that I can think of off the top of my head are all rely heavily upon the racism trope. So the entire Universal Century timeline is about people who are born in space versus people who are born in Earth. And they clash because people who are born on Earth feel as if they are better than people who are born in space. And because of that, a new war breaks out between the 2 opposing sides, which gives way to a new breed of people who are born in space, can actually feel and connect with the emotions and thoughts of other people who are called new types, and those new types are basically the child of people born on Earth and people born in space. It kind of like the two breeds come together and it results in new types, and new types are good for the world, essentially. It's the best way I can put it. That's the Universal Century timeline. That's the original Gundam. Gundam 79, Zeta, Double Zeta are the three main huge series there. Gundam Unicorn is included in this timeline. Anything with Char Aznable is included in this. Most of kind of like the spin-off series are a part of this. Anything with Xeon and are a part of this. Titans as well, by the way. For those of you who didn't know, that there was an enemy faction in Gundam called the Titans. It's in Zeta. And it's kind of funny because there's a meme that goes around in the Gundam community about people who constantly like yell out Titans as a joke from Attack on Titan, but it's been a joke far longer because Titans were a thing in Gundam Zeta, way back in like 1981 when Gundam Zeta came out. Gundam 79 came out in 1979, that's why they call it 79. Also because it takes place in Universal Century year 79. And then like I think 1 or 2 years later is when Zeta came out. So that's how I always, generally speaking, remember right about the date that Zeta came out. The next Gundam series that I can think of that I personally watched and enjoyed would be 00, which obviously Celestial Being is preventing. They're making armed interventions, this is a huge flaw and kind of back and forth thing that the series deals with constantly all the time, but they're trying to prevent war between two different factions over two different things and resources by using armed interventions, which is causing war. It's really weird when it comes down to that. That show obviously has racism in it, especially with the main princess of the series, because the main princess of the series basically represents all of the Middle East, and then everyone else that attacks her basically represents the United States. So I see what you did there, Japan. You did it quite well, honestly. What was the third Gundam series that I could think of? There was a different time. Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans is a war between Earthlings and Martians. Martians being people who are born on Mars. It's the entire principle of that series. It's essentially the Universal Century timeline, repeated, except minus the new types. The new types are replaced by and large people who have implants on their back that increase their processing powers and speeds. You get the same powers as a new type, except you're not psychic like a new type. As far as I know, anyhow, because I don't know where that series is going just yet. Season 2 is not out yet. So we will see where that series goes. I want to also watch a new anime, though, because so far, most of what we've watched together, barring Konosuba, has been anime that I've already seen before that my girlfriend hasn't seen yet, and that's why she's watching them. But I do want to kind of expand my boundaries just a little bit. So I've been trying to find something that I think both of us will enjoy. I've gone through all of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure myself, and I've tried to get her into it. She wasn't really enjoying it. She wanted to start something else. So because of that, I obviously have to find something new. So I can't do JoJo. I would like... Fairy Tail would be a safe bet. Rewatching all of Shippuden is, by and large, a long stretch. If I was going to ever watch One Piece, now would be the time to watch One Piece, because I think I could watch it through her and just marathon through it consistently as much as possible. Because I know for a fact I would love One Piece, and I know she would love One Piece because if she likes Fairy Tail, she's going to like One Piece. But at the same time, One Piece is like an ongoing series that is long and incredibly long. Emotional stress. I've got to find series that I've watched before that are just incredibly sad. Clan Ad in particular. is incredibly sad. That's an anime genre I don't usually watch. I say that, but I watch all anime genres. Clanad was just out there for me. Um, Clanad, and then what's it called? Oh man, Angel Beats. Angel Beats emotionally destroyed me. I have seen the original Berserk, not the new Berserk. The new Berserk is supposed to be really good. I did like the original Berserk, so we'll see about that. Guts is like one of the most badass swordsmen ever. I would love to watch Elfen Lied or Lead, depending on who you are, because that is supposed to be a fantastic series, and I feel as if it would be more bearable to watch with my girlfriend because I know that there are flaws in the anime that I'm not going to be able to overlook as much as I like to, but if she's with me, I will be able to overlook them because we will be laughing together at that series in general. I would also love to watch Black Lagoon because Black Lagoon deals primarily with the badass femme fatale, and I think both of us are going to enjoy that. I would like to watch either of those. I should make a list. In fact, I should do that now. So I think I will. Where be a Sharpie? For those of you who did not know this about me, oh, I should check my phone. That's not good. I need to check my phone now. I'm waiting for someone to attack me, essentially, in the game that I'm playing because I took something from them. So yeah. For those of you who did not know, I actually prefer to write everything in fine point Sharpie, and I know that it bleeds through the paper, but I can read Sharpie better than I can pencil. I will draw in pencil, and I don't mind drawing in pencil, but Sharpie is what I prefer to write in. So, Elfin Lead or Lied, depending on who you are, would be fun. Black Lagoon, Berserk, the new one, because the animation style is obviously better. It's basically the same thing. Where'd my good soda go? Is this it? This is it. Konosuba, S2, Psychopass, S2, Dongan Ronpa, S2, and S3. So I know that there is this S3, but I have not watched it. So we'll see where we go with that. Madoka Magica, since she's so inclined to ruin her own happy life. Madoka Magica. Bludgeoning Angel Dokuro-chan. I haven't finished it, so we might go through watching that one day. I might as well write that down. Angel Beats, because I don't think you've seen Angel Beats. In case you have, I can cross it off the list, but Angel Beats would be good to go through. If we want to stretch out the boundaries of the general themes that we have going on here, these are more action-oriented animes. We could go for IGPX, which is a Toonami original. There's 2 seasons to that anime. I personally liked it because it was just a new race. It's like an extreme version of NASCAR using giant robots. That's what I liked about IGPX. Ooh. Whoa, that was weird. Dead Man Wonderland would be fantastic to finish because I did not finish it. Um, Something has me fucked up right now. I just heard a really bad laugh outside. That just made me incredibly uncomfortable, and I do not like the fact that I have a window in my room. That just made me super uncomfortable. Like, I'm not even kidding. That had me fucked up. Um, hmm. I don't know if it was a laugh. I don't know if it was water from the rain and everything, like hitting the roof or something, but it sounded like a laugh. And yeah, that's got me fucked up. I don't like that. Okay. Anything else that I can think of that meaning to get to for a while now, but I haven't. I can't think of anything. There's a couple series out there that I want to read more than I want to watch because reading it would be better. Obviously, I got to keep up with Tokyo Ghoul. Hunter x Hunter, once it comes off hiatus, I got to keep up with it as well. So we might as well write that down. I'll grab another Sharpie and we'll do that in a different color. What's the magic color? Black, actually. Interesting. So we have Tokyo Ghoul to read, as well as Hunter x Hunter, JoJo, Part 5 currently, and then Part 6, Part 7 once we get to there as well. It is 12 o'clock though, and as much as I quite enjoy sitting here talking about anime on stream, well, this image is going to take forever to render. It has currently only been 25 minutes, and we are 74% complete through only the third scan. So there's 4 different scans in total. You got one scan where it does one set of pixels. You got another scan where it divides those pixels up into another box. Then you have the third scan, which is the one that we are currently on, where it divides them up into smaller boxes still. And then the fourth scan is when everything looks nice and pretty. So the fourth scan will come after this current scan hits the 100% mark. Until then, well, we're going to have to wait to get there. One of my paddles off my Elite controller is missing. There it is. I found it. For those of you who don't know, which is probably everyone, aside from a couple people, I dropped my laptop this morning really bad. It fell like 5 feet onto the ground, and it made, I think, the worst sound that I've ever heard in my life. And I thought it just destroyed itself. Smite needs an update. I bet that's the new god Daiji. I think that's Daiji. I think she's come out today. Yeah, my laptop fell this morning along with my phone and my Elite controller for my Xbox off the top of this bookshelf beside me, which is a total of 5 feet high. And the laptop was closed and it fell on top of the screen on this section up here on the ground face down. And yeah, I thought I had lost everything. Turns out HPs are more durable than what I let them on to be. So this is an HP Pavilion. It's about 2 years old now. I've only factory reset it once before, and it still works. Everything is in good working order. All the keys seem to work.
Obviously the screen is working right now. There's not even a single crack in it. The only thing wrong with the laptop itself is that there's a fairly decent sized scratch in front of it that is not or was not there before. The Elite controller, I don't know, I haven't played at all today, so we'll see how that goes. I should plug my mic in so that when I join the party they can hear me and it doesn't do that weird connection thing. And my phone, I've been using it all day. It seems fine as well. It was in its case, and as well as being in its case, it was also in the black part of the case, the actual like clip part for the belt and stuff. So I am going to go ahead and go play some Smite after this finishes updating in a bit. If I get off the internet, it's going to obviously update faster. So thank you guys so much for coming out and watching me do pretty much nothing. I think the only thing that we really did was put everything into groups and talk pretty much all the rest about anime. So I will see you guys later in another live stream some other time, whenever that happens, because I don't particularly know exactly when it will happen. Awesome. See you guys in another anime, or I was going to say another anime. See you guys in another video. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I post social media updates every Monday and Friday. It is currently Wednesday, technically. And I stream every Wednesday and Sunday. Just a little bit of forewarning. This stream is going to make up for tomorrow's stream. Tomorrow, obviously, the graduation ceremony is going to be going on at work, and I will be there and not home. So because of that, this stream will take that stream's place. Next stream should be out over the weekend, hopefully sometime. I am probably going to be with my girlfriend most of the weekend watching anime. So we will see whether or not I stream over the weekend. If I don't plan on streaming over the weekend, I will stream Friday like I did last week. We will see whenever we get there. So also check out my website at bluejaymeister.bluejays.com. I post regular updates, and I say regular and I mean monthly or bi-monthly or sometimes a whole year before we get around to doing it. Updates of the guns that I have made to that website itself. And remember to subscribe to the channel. And the stream is incredibly laggy because I think we're pretty far behind, to be completely honest. So I'll see you guys later in another stream sometime, hopefully, I think.